Hi guys! Today I am doing a little collaboration with Alice from I Am Absolutely Alice, and we are both going to use this new line from Rosie Studios called Mimosa Sundays because one, it's beautiful, and two, we both really love Sundays. So today we are both going to create something, anything really, with the theme of Sunday. I will leave the link below to Alice's channel so you can head over there and check out her gorgeous creation. And I am going to make a page in my traveler's notebook because Sunday is always one of my favorite days of the week. We always tend to go out for coffee or breakfast or something on a Sunday, so that is what I'm going to base my page on. And I have to say a huge thank you to Melissa Vinning because she knew I was struggling to get my hands on this line, so she very kindly sent me these goodies to play with. And if you hang about until the end of the video, I will let you know how you can go into the draw to win some of these Mimosa Sunday goodies for yourself. But for now, let's get on with the process. So the first thing I want to do is pick out some background papers, and obviously these are just 6x6 papers in this paper pad, which isn't quite big enough to cover my traveler's notebook spread. So I'm going to pick out two different patterns. I wanted a lighter one on the top. The idea that I have involves creating a banner, and I want the banner to be able to stand out on the background. So I've chosen a little white, it's got a hexagon, a gold foil hexagon pattern on it. It's really beautiful. The video does not do it justice. And a little kind of a tan colored striped pattern, which, you know, wouldn't be my usual go-to in a pad full of pinks and purples and peaches, but it went the best with my photo, to be honest. As I was flicking through the paper pad, I really did love that pink floral, and I will use some pink in here, but the tan just really, it hooked up the colors in my photo really nicely, so I decided to use that. And I've trimmed both of those bits of paper down to the width of my traveler's notebook, and then I trimmed the bottom piece just to cover the patch that the top pattern paper won't cover. Now I'm going to go through these die cut packs, and there are two die cut packs. So the first one here is just all these little random embellishments, and they are gorgeous, but the thing I love the most about Rosie Studios, the die cuts in particular, is that there is more than one of each die cut. So often there'll be like the perfect die cut and you'll need it more than once. Never a problem with this range. There are at least two of every die cut in here, so it does take a little bit longer to go through them, and at the moment I'm not doing anything particularly specific. I'm just sorting them into a pile of ones that I definitely will not use to ones that I potentially could use. Now obviously this range is called Mimosa Sunday, so a lot of it is, you know, like champagne and mimosas, that sort of glamorous type of breakfast, which this definitely is not. It's a coffee at my local garden centre, so definitely no high heels, lipstick or champagne here. So I'm just going through the more basic sort of die cuts related to breakfast and coffee. Now this second pack of die cuts is called journaling spots, which is so handy. So I'm going through those as well. Not that I intend to have a great deal of journaling on this page, but I am just going through it just in case. It's nice to have the chance, I guess, to do a little bit more journaling than I usually do. So I did pick out those journaling spot cards pieces just in case. Now I aren't actually going to stick down all of my background, but I am definitely going to stick down these bottom two pieces because I'm not going to need to shift those. The banner that I want to do is going to involve some hand stitching, so I'm not actually sticking down my top two bits of paper there. I just want to see what I can kind of build with these die cuts and how far up the page that's actually going to go. So I'm just stacking, which it looks, I'm really quite pleased with how this looks. You know me, I'm not sort of big on layering, but I'm quite pleased with the little cluster that I managed to create down here. But because it's all die cuts, it's so flat. It's amazing. Now here's my idea for the banner, because I've got these pink fresh alpha dyes and I love them. So I obviously am looking for excuses to use them wherever I can. So that's what I'm going to make my little banner out of. I really carefully swiped my cluster to the side, hoping that I'll be able to sort of imitate that again, and I don't get too far off, I don't think. But I'm just using a letter guide, making sure that those alpha dyes are going to fit on there, because I want to create the swoop of my banner across the two pieces of my page. And I'm just doing that really lightly in pencil because my brain doesn't work really well backwards, so I didn't want to have to flip those over and then try to work out which angle the swoop should be on. So I just drew it straight onto the pattern paper, and really lightly, so that after I've poked all my little holes in there with my drawing pin and my mat, I can just erase that line off, and it came off perfectly well. But any little bits of pencil that are still going to be on there will get hidden by the stitching anyway. Now I'm just going to do a little bit of hand stitching here, but because this is quite, the paper is quite thin, like it's definitely not cardstock, it definitely is paper. So I'm not going to do a whole six, what do you call it? Strands, 6 strands of embroidery thread. I split the blue in half, so it's just 3 strands that I am going to stitch with. And I'm just going to do a back stitch across both sides of the page like that. Didn't take very long at all, and I just used washi tape to tie off the ends on the back there, because I don't want to tie any knots. I do want this to be able to be glued down as flat as possible. Now these alpha dyes are a little bit unique. I haven't seen anything like this before, in that they cut at the same time. They cut an inside and an outline of the alpha. So there are 6 letters, and I want to do 2 letters of each pattern, but technically I'm going to need 6 pattern papers. So I'm just going to cut out 2 little blocks of each one, and I'm going to end up having to cut these alphas twice for each letter, because I'm cutting the inside here, so I want the light blue patterned paper inside, and then I'm going to cut it a second time. You can see I have kept both the bits, because you never know when you're going to need the word Sunday again, I guess. I hate to waste it is the issue. And then I'm going to run that through my diamond press a second time, because I want the darker purple outline. So I'm trying to keep everything in order here. I'm putting the leftover bits to the side that I'm not going to need, and then I'm going to continue on with each letter. So for each letter I'm running it through the press twice. Once with the pattern paper that I want to use for the inside, and once for the pattern paper that I want to use for the outline. The only thing I will say with these dies is they are messy to stick down. So if anyone has these dies and has any tips for how you get the outlines to stick down easily, I'm all ears. I would love to know, because I love the look of these dies, but they are really pesky to glue down. Now I actually ripped one of the outlines while I was trying to peel it off. This wasn't a great idea either. I decided, oh, this is taking forever, so I try to die cut the 2 different bits of paper in one go to save time, except any time that I saved doing that, I totally wasted then trying to peel the 2 bits of paper apart. It die cut the 2 pieces perfectly well, because they are quite thin paper, but it kind of like mushes the 2 bits together, and it was really hard to separate them. So anytime I saved there, I didn't save at all, but I attempt to do it again. You can see here it takes no shorter amount of time than it did to do them separately. And eventually I get this all die cut. It is those outlines are really very thin, so they are a little bit tricky to get out of the dies. I just use a little pencil to poke through the holes at the back. And now I can go about sticking these all down. So my plan of attack was to use just a little glue pen and stick down the insides first, and then kind of draw around the outline and then stick the outline die cut piece down. And it kind of worked. It took forever, and I think the issue that I had was that my fingers got so gluey. They end up just peeling up the outlines more than they were sticking them down. So this did take me ages, and it was a little bit frustrating, I will say. I tried a couple of different glue pens. This one's smaller and has a smaller nib on it, so I was hoping it would spew less glue everywhere and my fingers would get less gluey. As you can see, it didn't really happen. In fact, it didn't stick down quite as well as the other one, but I persist with this one. This is probably the longest part of this page, was sticking all these little alphas down, but I really love it. This die set is like perfect for cards or titles. I just love that you get the outline and the insides, and I've used both separately as well too. So it was a bit of an investment, probably more than I've spent on any other die set, but I just love them. They are so pretty. And so eventually I get all of those letters stuck down, and then I can just stick these pieces into my notebook. I'm just being a tiny bit careful when I'm running my tape roller over the stitching or where the washi tape is. This tape roller is a little bit tough is the word I want to use. You have to use quite a lot of force with it. It's not very free, and so I didn't want to pull out any of the stitching, because again, this paper is quite thin, so I didn't want to accidentally rip out any of the stitching while I was trying to glue it into my book. Now I'm going to go about trying to recreate this little cluster I had here, and I don't do too bad a job of it. This is the only little piece that I'm going to use for actual journaling. 3 of these bits were from that journaling spot pack, and I'm only going to use one tiny little one for journaling, but the rest of it is just getting layered up for my very flat cluster here in the corner, and I really love it. I love that little croissant, it's so cute. And the only real coffee sort of themed thing in here was this percolator, so I stuck that on there too, just because there is coffee. I wondered about putting these little banners up the top, because I already have the big banner that I've made, and I do add an extra pink tab down the bottom because there is a lot of pink in the letter banner Sunday that I've made, and I haven't really got a lot of pink down here in my cluster, so I'm just adding a few extra bits and pieces, a couple of hearts in that little tab piece, just to add a little bit of pink into the cluster to balance out the page a little bit. And in the end, I do decide to add these banners up the top because, again, I feel like they balance out the colors a little bit more, so adding just that little bit of pink and orangey peachy color back into it. Lots of these pieces have gold foil, so I used the gold foil card at the top too to give me the 3 points. I've got 3 hearts on there. And now my favourite part of this line, the little puffy stickers. I added a croissant and a little car, because we do leave the house and drive somewhere to get coffee, and just some orange slices, just again more to balance out the colours than anything else, but these just add the perfect little touch of embellishment. And now really all I have left to do is add in my very small amount of journaling and call this page done. Now, to enter the giveaway, simply leave a comment below letting me know one of your favourite Sunday activities before 6 PM on Sunday the 16th of June, and you will go into the draw to win a Mimosa Sunday Goodie Bag. And don't forget to head over and check out Alice's channel for a chance to win another Mimosa Sunday Goodie Bag, because that's right, 2 chances to win. So don't forget to leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, don't forget to check out my Patreon page, because there are even more videos over there. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!